Duke Ellington once said, "It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing." Duke Ellington had something going for him, and he knew something, I'm sure, about painting, because music and painting are all the same. Let's take a look at the painting I'll be doing up here. We're going to paint some beautiful mums. This is just two mums we have. Well, look at the nice gold frame on it. We have a kind of a yellowy, orangey, kind of an earthy color. One down here that's white, and we have a lot of leaves and stuff jumping around the back. Let's take a look at this. Is the canvas. This is a 14 by 18. We have acrylic, which is a water-based paint. I have a little kind of a blue-green, touches of mauve and yellow. Our technique tape will go into this in more depth to show you just how to do this stuff. I just don't have time on here to really get into it. I have a coat of linseed oil on the canvas. And what I do is I put it on, I take a towel, wipe most of it back off. So it gives me a very slick, wet surface on top of a dry surface, which is kind of interesting. Let's come down. Let's take a look at the palette. I want to show you how I've mixed all these colors up. I've pre-mixed this. This is burnt sienna. This, of course, is good old oil paint. Burnt sienna I've taken, and I pulled it over here, and I've added a little bit of orange to it. And as I come over, I added a little yellow. So look at these colors. It's going from a beautiful kind of a golden yellow through these earthy tones way down into the earthy burnt sienna. So when we want to find out where these mums are located, so we'll take something that's not too dark. We have a mum up here. Notice how I kind of wiggle the brush around to kind of get the feeling of those petals. There's petals on the bottom, comes up this way. And then there's going to be a nice dark center. We have one in here. Don't put it directly underneath. And we have another one coming in here. Comes around. Look at the brush. It's just dancing and singing. Yes. And we're going to paint our mums so they go in very, very loose and very free. We're going to come down and pick up some sienna and sap green. And we're going to put, whoa, look at that, a very nice, super dark color. Look at the brush, how it's turning in different directions. Don't just paint one way, but get your brush churning and turning and churning, like a washing machine. Do, 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 do. We're going to come on down here. Pick up some more green, sienna, and way across here, a little touch of crimson, which kind of warms the color up. Working very dry, so we don't have any medium in the paint. Coming on down. You could even use your paper towel to get in there, and look how we can soften edges. So that if I wanted to tint the background, I might just take some of that. Look how this color with a paper towel, because the background's dry, isn't it? And how I just warmed up the background with a little color, which is sienna. Maybe, watch up here. Take paper towel. Look at this. Look how I can tint the background. If I want some texture, I could even do this. Get a little fancy with it. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. A paper towel is great. I'm going to take that green. It's warming up the background nicely. I'm going to grab some of this. Put some of it down here. So it just warmed up the whole background. Look at that thing. That's so cool just to get in and play and mess around. Let's go up there on that top mum. We're going to start with some sienna and place it in the center, because we want it nice and dark. Now the light is coming from the right-hand side, so we're going to take a little of this middle tone here and just come in. We have to put a tone over the whole thing, and watch how I use the side of the brush, and I really jump out there to really paint the mums looser, much looser than what you actually see, because a mum, really, the petals are so tight that we have to get in and loosen them up. Now, because I have linseed oil on here, I can get into some really nice tints simply by dragging the color around. Here's a little more sienna, way in the middle. Ah, yes. Just darken that up. And we're just going to pull that out. And we're just going to let that sit there. Maybe we'll have a little darker down here. Let's go down to the next one, which is going to be basically a white mum. This is linseed oil and terp. It's odorless terp and linseed. We're going to take this, take our gray. Up it goes. Remember, we have oil on the canvas. I'm dipping into some medium. I just dip down into the gray. And up it comes and overlaps. And look at how we pull. Look at that color. We pull it into the mum. Down on the bottom, and round we go. And look at the brush. It never stops. It just keeps moving. Cool. You see these tints that I'm putting on? These tints. Let's get a little dark down here. These tints, well, what is that? That's a little green and sienna, but I see I have a little more green than sienna, but it doesn't matter. These tints I'm putting on are going on because I'm using a paint that's full of pigment. You would never get these tints with paint that is mostly just filler and linseed oil. You wouldn't get this. But because I can thin down the paint with medium, I can thin it down, but it still doesn't lose its tinting power even though it's thinned down. Try that with one of those soft paints. You'll have nothing. It'll just be so weak and loose, there'd be nothing there. Now let's take a look at this. We've got this whole thing set up. We're going to take a little green and sienna. Let's get that in there. Watch this, guys. Watch this. Watch the stroke. Can you see that? Watch it go in. Let's come down and pick up some sienna and a touch of orange. Change color. Look at that. Look at that color. And then kind of pull it into the green. Don't just let it sit there. We're going to come way up here. You must use a brush that comes to a chisel, guys. Otherwise it won't work. Let's slow down. I'll show you this stroke. Down. Wiggle, wiggle. Up and out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just go in. And all I do is just do that fast. It's twist it out, boom, boom, boom. Some of the leaves are just barely there. Here we're coming up here. Look at it come in. Notice the curve. Don't put it in anything that's straight. Here, most of the paint is running off of the brush, so I'm getting these remember, because it has plenty of pigment, even though it's running off the brush, I'm still getting some wonderful color up there. Green, a little touch of sienna. Let's put our stems in. Stems are never straight, guys. You know that. And we're going to come in from here. Come on. And on the bottom, put a little ragged bottom. Have little things coming off like that. Another one over here. Another one here. Now, just because you have two mums doesn't mean you're going to have two stems. These stems could be going to all these leaves up there. Oh, we have some wonderful fern coming off. And watch how you do fern. You see how that works? Look at that. You see it? That's why your brush has to come to a nice chisel. Another one coming up this way. And some of the ferns show and some don't. It's okay. You don't have to have everything very bright and out front. This is there. It gives a nice earthy look. I'm going to take my red and my orange. This color is so full of wonderful pigment that we get these bright colors on there. Look at that color jump off the screen because we have pigment power, guys. Look at it happen. Yes, look. Okay, we're going to leave that sit there just for a second. I'm going to reach for my blue. I'm going to come up next to that really hot passion color. Let's put a little blue next to it. Yes. Okay, now we have our flowers all blocked in. They're just sitting there waiting to have their little faces painted. Here, remember that mixture? Sienna, orange, yellow. Let's take our yellow with a mixture right here, which has a little bit of orange in it and a little bit of sienna. Now, if you draw a line like this down the middle, just so you can just barely see it, you'll find that your first stroke is straight. And, well, before we do that, we're going to run around like this. I'm going to get a little more color. We're going to run around like this and get these little petals that look like they're trying to see what's happening inside. Okay. Then we have a line that goes this way. So maybe I'll put a little touch of white with that because it's not showing, just a touch. The first stroke is straight. Then as we come to the right, everything starts to curve this way. Everything on the other side of that line curves the other way. You see how that works? So, as you come around towards the back, they're foreshortened, so your strokes are shorter, you see, until it just becomes like a dot, 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 dot back there, because they're all coming towards you. Towards the front, we just lay each layer in. One layer overlaps the previous layer. Coming on in, boom, 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 boom. Loose and free, boom, 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 boom. Hold that brush way in the back and you'll paint looser and freer. I'm into more white because I want a feeling of light hitting. Try that with paint with no pigment. Look at that. Ding, 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 ding. Try that with with your soft paint. It won't work. There. Wow, wow. This is dry. Look at the curve. Curve, curve, curve. The other way. Boom, 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 boom. Can you see it happen, guys? Mm-hmm. We're really going to go for the light hitting. Some of these petals are just so far out from the main body. This gives it a nice loose effect. But we really have to pile petal on top of petal to really get these mums free and loose. Some of the petals are skinny. Not all of them are going to be hard looking, you remember? Yeah, or wide. Skinny, skinny, skinny. Looks like I'm getting a little too much blue up there. Little blue is all right, but not too much. How we do? Now, not too much light on the light side, or the whole thing will flatten out on us. Let's take a little more of our titanium white. You keep, as your paint dries, you can go in and now we're cooking. Let's go down to the bottom one. This one is facing a little bit this way. This one is this way, this one's this way. We have our little petals that look inside, like that. Now remember, we have a line that runs this way. See it? So I'm going to put a touch of blue with it, see what that does. Now, we're going to go, boom, and everything on this side curves this way, and everything on the other side curves the other way. You see it happen? Mm-hmm. Remember, the base coat we put in on the bottom is very, very thin. I'm putting a little blue with the white. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. I know. You're saying, wait a minute. This looks too easy to me. It is easy. It's all in the stroke. I'm putting a little of that wonderful turquoise and white together. Now watch the bottom stroke. So you see, you got to come up and they twist and they turn in different directions. You see it? Don't have them all just going one way. It'll get boring. Whoop. Yeah. Let's come up and boom, 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 boom. Remember, we're in the dark side, so not too much on the dark side. But I want those petals drooping. And let's loosen it up. Loose, 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 loose. Now, there's not quite enough light hitting in here. So we'll take our white. It has a touch of blue. Good old titanium. It's a very strong white, full of pigment. And the last thing you do is the first thing the folks see when they look. And the first thing they'll see is this wonderful lights. Look at that touch of blue, how it makes it sing. Don't be boring and just use. I see people doing these flowers. It almost looks like they're monochromatic, like one color plus white. And maybe they'll get brave and put a little more something with it. But they're boring because they haven't learned how to play with color. And you guys know, floral painting is all about color. Here's a petal. Watch this on the end. You see this petal right here? Maybe it's turned over. Watch how you see how I just turned it over? Let's turn this one over. You see how that one turns over? Let's turn this one over. You see? You see that? and a little extra little shot in there. Okay, now that top one is mostly warm color, so I'm going to take some of this cool color on top of the warm. What's that going to do? Whoa, looks like that chord is not right, so we're not going to do that. Boy, the painting will tell you if you're screwing up. All right, let's get that cool out of there. That's better. We can have cool, but that was a little too cool. Let's get a little shot there. Here. Now we're going to slow down. We have some wonderful little daisies floating around, and that's done with the filbert brush, which is great for painting petals that are round. Okay, so we're going to take, what should we put with our white? Let's take a little yellow, mix with our white, and let's take a look at this up here. We have a little stem that comes out, and we're going to push down and pull up. Now let's do this real slow so you can see this stroke. This is a filbert. That's the flat, that's the side. Now watch how I push. If I push down, the hairs get wide. As they come in, they get skinny. Wide to skinny. Let me show you what people do when they're painting daisies and what is the wrong way. They don't push down. They simply go around and they make a perfect little circle like that. Well, that doesn't look too bad. I tried to screw up and it didn't work. But don't make it perfect. I've been doing daisies so long, maybe I just can't do them the wrong way. But what we want to do is let's put a little center in there. You want to push your brush down, widen those hairs out, and come in. There it is. So it's fat to skinny, or wide to skinny. See it? And then what we'll do is we'll come in and we overlap the center just a little. There it is. Woo! Woo! Throw it in there. Let's get another daisy in there. We'll get another stem coming way up here. Sometimes you can go in and actually put the center in first. Then taking our white and yellow, we'll just paint right into it. Now, if you wanted a side view, you don't show the back, but you have to get it a little more elongated, and there's a side view. Simple. No biggie. Let's take our yellow and blue and get a little shots here. Now, we're going to come on up, way up. We have a little extra time, so in this painting, we're going to put some more of these wonderful, beautiful little daisies in. We have little top knots here and here. Some daisies, you can put your petals. Remember, you ever see daisies where, oh, they just have a few petals? You could do that in some of your paintings where maybe some of the petals have fallen out. Notice how the stems curve. Very important. Maybe we'll have another one here. Let's bring this one way out on the side. Daisies to me are like little unruly children. They're flying all over the place. They're going here and they're going there. Okay, then, not all of your daisies will be out full. Some of them will be peeking from behind. Maybe you have another one here. You see, coming from behind the flower. And when that happens, you have to put your center in. But anytime you bring a flower or a leaf up next to whatever flower you're painting, you always have to go back in and pull, get a little lighter, and pull the flower over the top. I'm going to put a little more white with it. There it is. Now, you see how that set that flower back so it adds a little natural feeling to your painting so that you don't just have everything out front. Okay, maybe we'll take our, very important to get it nice and deep and dark inside. So we take a little more sienna and come in here and darken it up just a little to see how it adds so much depth to the inside. And we'll take a little of our color. And maybe that's too warm. There it is. And we have to put these petals back in when we put our dark in, so that dark sets way back in there. Okay, all right. Okay, let's pull back and see what we have. We're going to take a little orange and red. We're going to come up here. Now, here's a little thing you can do. You see this color we have singing over here? We can put a little, way up top, a little touch, just a dot dot. A little dot dot. See? You see? You see how we're bringing the warm color over? This is stuff I normally don't have time to show you in paintings, but it's stuff I want you to see how when I finish a painting up, I'll go back into it and put these little shots of color. I'm going to come down here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to put a little shot of color down here. See? What that does, it adds a little extra zing. Remember, we're using this paint with plenty of pigment, so when I touch it, that paint is there. It's not going to sink in and disappear later on. We're going to take our blue and our white and put a little cool, look at, can you see? Those are our cool notes. Look at that. Now let's pull back. Let's take a look at, what does that do to our painting, this little stuff? Do you see? Can you see it? Can you see it? So important to do that. Okay, let's take a little more of that yellow blue. And let's concentrate. Let's bring these fern out. Remember, don't skip past the detail. I see a lot of people do their paintings and they finish them up because they're in a rush, when if they had only taken their time to go in and do a little more detail, it'll put their paintings up on another higher level. Because people, when they see your paintings across the room, they'll say, oh, look at that, it's a rose painting or it's a mum painting. And they come up close and look at it. And when they do that, we want to show them some detail. Not that you have to detail the whole thing out, but we're going to show them just a hint of detail, because this detail playing against the looseness gives us a wonderful, beautiful contrast. I'm still working, and it's still going to come in. Oh, there it is. I wanted a few more lights on there, because they're going to come up and look at this little stuff. A little shot in here. A little shot there. Overlap that flower, the mum, to push it back. You see how we just overlap that? Bring it over. On our stems, let's not forget those. It will add a little light. Maybe a little something coming off. All right. Notice how ragged the stems are on the bottom. We have a nice curve going in. I'm looking at the painting going, what? Am I leaving anything out? I see over here we might want to. You can even use your round brush for stuff. Watch. Flat and to a point. Flat and to a point. See? Now, if you wanted to, well, way up at the top, maybe a little some stem in there. Okay. Now we're going to, say we had, maybe there's some little buds and things, again, jumping around just to add a little more interest. We'll come in. Now watch right here. I will take the round brush and push it down. Push. You see how we're making these little bud shapes? You see it? You think you can do that? I think so. Now these could be anything. People say, well, what is that? It could be anything. Who cares? They could be little pods from a flower that's gone by, or some little wild little things. Well, if we're going to have some there, we better spread it around. Maybe we'll have another one way over here. Balancing the painting off at the end is always the toughest. An artist once said, well, how do you know when a painting is done? Well, it just stops in interesting places. That's when you stop, because if it goes too far, if you overload it with too much stuff in it, it might have looked good and you should have stopped with your painting 2 hours ago. So I think we're looking pretty good here. I think that I hope yours turns out as well. And don't forget out there to stop and smell the mums along the way. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Doe mee aan de schilderwedstrijd van Max en Atelier met als thema bloemen. Maak van uw schilderij een kleurig palet. Van zonnebloem tot bloementuin. U ontvangt altijd een deskundig juryrapport en uw werk wordt geëxposeerd in Museum van Dien in Feyenoord. Ook maakt u kans op vele schitterende prijzen. Kijk op omroepmax.nl om u op te geven voor deze bijzondere wedstrijd.